Today, I'm going to show you how to make a pair of chainmail earrings. You'll need flat nose pliers, wire snips, a spool of 18 gauge silver tone craft wire, and a spool of 18 gauge gold tone craft wire. You'll also need 2 earring wires, 6 head pins, 6 round beads 1/4 inch in diameter, 14 seed beads size 6/0, a toothpick, and a dowel rod about 1 centimeter in diameter. A chopstick also works very well. Okay, you take about 5 to 6 inches of your gold tone wire and you wrap it around the dowel rod or chopstick, whatever the case may be. You want it to be nice and snug so that it'll make even rings, but you don't want it to be so snug that you can't get it off. That being said, there's something to be said for the aesthetic value of even rings. If your rings are all different shapes and sizes, then it doesn't look as pretty on the end product. So you do that for the rest of your wire. Remember, you only need about 10 rings, but it doesn't hurt to have extra because they get mangled, they get lost. Anyways, once you've got this coil, you're going to take your snips and you're going to cut off those excess pieces. Watch out, they go flying. Then, this part is very important. You take your snips and you line it with that top piece. And you cut. A lot of times, you gotta do it one piece at a time. And you break it off. That's your first ring. Now you keep doing this in a nice straight line all the way down your coil. This will be easier with some snips than others. Another thing to consider is regular wire cutters will probably do the job easier, but they will leave you with a diagonal cut on the end here. That's why I'm using this pair, is because they'll cut flush, which means that the ends will be flat, and when I pinch them together later, it'll be nice and smooth, won't scratch the skin. Okay, now, you're going to do the same thing with your toothpick and your silver tone wire, except, fair warning, it's a lot harder to get it off the toothpick if it's too tight. You may even have to break it and use your pliers to pull it out. The other thing is, since you're wrapping it around such a thin piece of wood, it's hard to keep it in place while you're getting that initial loop on. You may even break your toothpick. Anyways, don't worry if the first ring's not good. It basically just needs to grip so you can get the next ones on there nice and even. Now, for the gold rings, I said you needed 10 of them total for both earrings. This one, you're going to need 14 per earring, so you'll probably have to dig up a couple of toothpicks. This is probably the most difficult part of the earrings. Don't worry though, it gets easier with practice. Okay, like I said before, it can be really, really hard to try and get the coil to come off of the toothpick. A trick you can do, hold it in place with your pliers and spin it around and it'll just work itself off. Like a screw threading off. Careful though, because you could just as easily unwind your wire if you're not careful. Ta-da! Now you treat it just like you treated the gold wire. Snip off those ends sticking off. Fair warning, it is a lot harder to do the silver wire, the smaller coil, without deforming the rings. Okay, now, once you've gotten all your rings cut out, we're going to need to prepare them. You see how it's not even there? It's at the top and then it's at the bottom. You gotta take your flat nose pliers and press it together. And then press it up and down till they're closed. Like so. Okay, you're going to do that to all of your gold tone rings. Your silver rings will be prepared marginally differently. Okay, you're still going to take your pliers and make them nice and even. You're going to take your pliers in the center, then open them just a little bit so that it's nice and open there. Okay, so here's the main pattern. You got the 5 gold rings, and then each gold ring is connected by a pair of silver rings. Okay, the easiest way to connect the 2 gold rings is like so. You take them like this, and you thread the silver tone ring through the both of them. Then you carefully use your pliers to try and close the ring. Oftentimes, this is easier said than done. There we go. Then you just do the same thing with the next ring. Depending on your eyesight, you may or may not benefit from a magnifying glass. I know my glasses pretty much make it easy enough for me to do so. And then voila, one set of connected rings. Do this with the next ring. And the next. Once you've assembled the main body of the earring, you're going to do the same thing with the additional small hoops to attach it to the ear wire. Like so. Okay, now you're going to take one of your head pins and you're going to thread one of the round beads through. Then you'll thread 2 of your seed beads on top of it. Take your pliers, bend it sideways, and then loop it back around. But before you finish the loop, take your wire cutters and snip it off. You want to leave the loop a little bit open here so that you can hook it onto the earring. Now, you'll make 2 of these with the 2 seed beads. However, the one that will hang in the center will have 3 seed beads. Okay, so take the main body of your earring and attach the ends now. Thread it through. And then you use your pliers to close it. Like so. Repeat for the other side. and then repeat for the center. There we go. Now, do this for the next earring. And then you have the finished product.